souls, welcome back to my channel. So today's video, I'm going to be going through some more tarot and oracle decks that I'm selling and why. I have kind of a large bin to get through, so we're just going to get into it pretty fast. But the first kind of reasons that I want to share as to why I'm selling these tarot and oracle decks is because just financially, I need the money. Just to be totally transparent, we've had a lot of things going on within our family. I've had my dog recently started having seizures out of nowhere, and so that has been expensive. We also have our first baby on the way, due in May, and that's been stressful to financially deal with as well, with everything else going on, especially in the world. And then also space-wise, a lot of these decks are ones that I've been meaning to sell or move along for a while, and I need more space. Again, because we have a baby on the way, and I'm trying to declutter as much of the things that I'm not using as possible and make room. So those are the main reasons. And then we're going to go through each deck and talk about why I'm getting rid of that deck in particular. But those are the overarching themes, the biggest reasons why I'm getting rid of these decks right now. I have so many decks, and so many decks that I love as well that I use all the time, and I have a bunch of decks that I want to use that I just haven't gotten around to because they get lost in the shuffle. So yes, keep an eye out on my channel because I will have probably some more decks listed as I kind of organize some more and go through some more things and decide if I really need this or that. So I'll probably be doing another one of these pretty soon. I also do have some decks still available from the last time I did this. I have 2 out of print decks that I feel like are a reasonable price. I also have 1 mass market deck still up on my Etsy from last time. So if you are interested in that, I have the Lillifer Tarot currently still up, the Enchanted Oracle, which is out of print. Those 2 are out of print. And then I have the Legendary Ladies Oracle, which is still in print, but it is very much discounted on my Etsy. So the Etsy shop where I'm selling all of these decks will be listed down below in the description box. Also, I am going to be listing my baby registry. If anybody is willing to buy anything off of there, I would appreciate it. No pressure. I'm not, if it's really, if you can, then I would appreciate it. Or if you want to buy one of these decks, it would really help me out. So yeah, without further ado, let's get into these decks. Okay, so the first one I'm going to talk about is the Spirit Animal Oracle by Colette Baron Reed. Comes in a really beautiful box. This is a mass market deck. So I'm not quite sure pricing yet, so you'll just have to check out the Etsy, but I do check what these are going for brand new, and I do discount them from there. So they are cheaper than what you would get them for brand new. Comes with a really nice thick guidebook. And this deck is really beautiful. The artwork is some of my favorite artwork for animal decks, but I'm just not a big fan of animal decks in general. I have quite a few, and I only use regularly one of them. And so that's why this one, it's just not for me. I feel like the messages just don't resonate with me personally a lot of the times. I'm sorry if you guys can hear barking in the background. My dogs are barking at some passing deer. But yeah, really beautiful artwork. And there's a lot of cards in here. I find that the messages just don't resonate for me personally. And I've tried to do readings with this, for my family, just to pull a daily, a message to send to them in a group chat. And I just felt like I just didn't like the messages that were coming up personally. So that's why I'm getting rid of this one, because I have, again, quite a few animal decks that I don't even use, but I still want to keep, and this was just one that I just don't resonate with at all. Okay. Next up is the Oracle of Mystical Moments. This is one I've tried to get rid of multiple times, and then I'm like, no, I want to keep it. but it just doesn't work for me. The messages just do not work. This one is a mass market deck as well. I'm very interested in the tarot deck, the Tarot of Mystical Moments, because I do love this art style. But there's just something about these messages that just don't resonate with me. Some of them make sense, like this one's really cool. But other ones, you're like, what? I have to get into the guidebook. And it's just not, the messages are just confusing to me. And they never really resonate with like the reading or what I'm asking about. Again, the artwork is really gorgeous, and I would love to get the tarot deck. It's very whimsical. Kind of circus-like almost. But it doesn't work for me. I've tried multiple times. It's time for it to find a new home of somebody that will appreciate it more than I have. Okay, this next one is just a little mini deck. These are by Rockpool. They're really cool. I have the Forest Fae one, and I do like that one. This one is Moon Magic, but I have a lot of moon decks, and I have one that I really love the most, that I use the most, and this one's just not one that I use. It's like little affirmations. And I'm not really big into affirmation decks either. So that's why this one, I'm getting rid of this one. But it's a really cute little deck to throw into your bag. I've used similar decks to like throw into a package that I'm sending, or into a letter, or leave on a table if I'm like out to eat for the waitress. Like these are fun to leave around. They're also fun to throw in your purse and to pull a message for somebody if they're feeling down around you, or if you're doing a client reading. This is a really good little oracle deck to bring around with you. I just don't use it, so that's why it is going, even though I love the moon. This one just sits and collects dust. All right, so next we have the Goddess Temple Oracle cards. I've had this for a while, and I do like this deck. I've used it here and there throughout the time that I've had it, but I don't know, the way that it's set up doesn't have a lot going for it for like the messages down here. You kind of have to get into the guidebook. The artwork is stunning. I will say I love the artwork. Very, you know, it reminds me of like the Druidcraft or the Wildwood, or, you know, my Mists of Avalon. It kind of is that same energy. That's really beautiful. But I've tried to use this, and it just doesn't work for me very often. It is really beautiful though. I might look at the guidebook on some of these cards, because I do want to know like what the meaning is behind it. But the guidebook kind of like, it leaves a lot to be desired. Like here, let me see if, yeah, I wanted to see what this one, she looks pregnant in this card. I don't know if she is, but so that's the journey. So that one, you know, you can go off of the journey, of course, but live life as a wonderful inner or outer journey according to your intentions. You can fully enjoy exploring on a day-to-day basis what shows itself in the present, which is the only true existing reality. So you really don't get much. You don't get an explanation of what's going on in the card, which, you know, it can be open to intuitive interpretation, of course, but yeah. So I feel like that's maybe what this deck is best for, is like path working. So I might take some pictures of some of these images to have, but I just don't find myself using this deck. But the artwork is very pretty. Every time I look at it, I'm like, oh. And I almost got rid of it last time I didn't because of the artwork, but I tried to use it and it just didn't work for me. So there's that. Okay. Next. This is one that hurts because I love the artwork on this one. This is the Essential Tarot. Decks like these I really enjoy that are kind of Pippish, but not totally Pippish. And this is just a really good one for that. I have edged this one in black, so that is just a, I will list it in, you know, I'll put it in the listing that this is modified, but I did edge the sides of the card in black in Sharpie, so it doesn't come like that. So just heads up on that. The reason that I am getting rid of this one is just because of the cardstock. It is horrible for me to shuffle. It's like really thick, impossible for me to riffle, and that's why. But I do really love the artwork on this, and I love the Pippish minors. Again, this is one I feel like I might take some pictures of some of the cards because I love the interpretation of some of the tarot cards on here. But I have so many beautiful tarot decks that are easy for me to shuffle and that work and that read well. There's just really no reason for me to have this. This is a beautiful, beautiful card. You know, I don't get it out to look at the artwork very often. So, I mean, what's the point of me having it? But I think it's a really great deck. And if you're somebody who shuffles, you know, side shuffle, this works great for that. It's just riffling is a little hard. And I have a few decks that I make an exception for that I can't riffle very well. And this is just one that is such a pain to handle. So anyway, that's why I'm getting rid of this one. But yeah, it shuffles like this fine. So if you are a shuffler, a side shuffler, you know, that's fine. Or if you're okay with not being able to riffle a deck, then this is a really good Pippish tarot deck. Okay. What's next? Okay, this one are the Karma cards. These are also astrological themed cards. I've had these for quite a long time, and they're just not, I don't know. They just don't work for me. I guess you're supposed to be able to line them up and get a message. But like, it's just a lot going on the card, and I don't necessarily like something this style. I've never really used them very much. I had them in my astrology study kind of like little set that I was doing, and I never really used it. So yeah, the guidebook's pretty good. Like, I was using this for different things, but yeah, I don't use this, and it sits and collects dust. So I'm sure there'll be somebody out there that can appreciate this. Okay. Next up, I only have a few left. Okay, this is the Gaia Oracle. Again, a beautifully illustrated deck. I have trimmed this, so again, just a disclaimer there. Beautiful artwork though. Love the Sacred Heart backs. I don't find myself using decks that have quite a few different like little meanings on the card. But these do have very beautiful messages, and the artwork is really gorgeous. I just never use it. And this has been in my like get rid of pile for a long, long time. And it's finally time. It's time to let it go. Okay, next up, I have the Golden Tarot. So I recently for Christmas got the Touchstone Tarot, which is also by Cat Black, the person who made this one. And this deck, I actually really like this deck. I've had a hard time using it in client readings. It's very medieval. But the reason that I want to get rid of this is because I do have the linen one on my wish list that I would like to get at some point eventually. But this cardstock is just really horrible to handle. So yeah, and the Touchstone Tarot I do enjoy a lot more than this one, which is interesting because I looked at both when I purchased this one and I thought I would like this one more. And I actually really do prefer the Touchstone. Really cool artwork. I love the gold, all the gold coloring, but I would prefer this in the linen. So I'll probably get it one day or not, because I don't use this one very often anyway. So if I get rid of it now and I decide I don't want the linen anymore because I'm not thinking about it, then that's fine. But yes. Okay. Okay, last two. This is the Angel Answers Oracle. I feel like this is a really good deck for beginners. It is angelic, so if you're not into that, I totally get it if you don't want this deck. But if you just want something for timing or like yes or no questions, this is really good for that. I personally can use just a regular tarot deck for yes or no answers. I also have a pendulum, which is really good for that. So that's why I don't use this. It's also just not my aesthetic. I don't have a lot of angel decks, don't use angel decks. It's kind of out of my beliefs. So I think the artwork's really pretty, but I just never use this. And I feel like it would be really good for somebody out there. It's like essentially brand new too, so getting rid of that one. Okay, last but not least, we have White Newman. I've actually used this deck quite a bit in my practice, and I do really like it. I just feel like our time is done, I guess. The artwork is just not really my style. And there's another deck that came out, oh my gosh, what is it? I'll put it up on the screen because I really like that deck, and I feel like it has a similar font and art style. And this one, I don't know. I do like it. I love the artwork. But this art style is just not my aesthetic personally. Like it reminds me of like an anime, which I've never been into anime, you know, or like a video game, which again is just not my thing. And it reads real, this one does read very well for me. But I just don't have a super strong attachment to it. And it's not the easiest cardstock to shuffle. It's by Liminal 11, so yeah, like this just looks very cartoony to me, which isn't really what I go for. It's kind of quirky and weird. All right, so that one is going as well. And I guess it's technically like an animal deck, which again, not my favorite always. Okay guys, so that's all of the decks that I am selling and why. So if you're interested in any of these, please check out my Etsy shop. And if you've seen me talk about a deck or show a deck and you're like, I really want that, you know, don't be afraid to drop a comment because I might be willing to sell it too. I just have to kind of outweigh the pros and cons on certain decks. So I'm still in the midst of making decisions. Some of these, even showing them, I was like, oh, do I really want to get rid of that? But it's like I haven't used them in a while. I'm not going to have time to use them. I have a newborn baby on the way, and that will, I know, suck up a lot of my time. So why should I waste my time trying to work with decks that don't really work for me and trying to force something that just doesn't fit, right? When I have so many beautiful decks that I want to work with, that I love, that I just have too many to like rotate through, right? You know, my goal is to only have a few decks that I don't use. I want all of the decks that I use to kind of be in rotation. So that's the goal. I'm also trying to just have a more stress-free life altogether as far as clutter and things go, because I have so many things. And the less things that are in my, you know, physical space, the less like a room they take up in my mental headspace. So yes, I just don't have the physical room or the mental capacity to have things laying around that I don't truly love and care about. So yes, again, Etsy shop will be listed down below, and keep an eye out for that, because I probably will be listing more, but I'll definitely make a video if I decide to list more. And again, if you want to buy anything off my baby registry, it would help me out a lot, but you don't have to. No pressure. Yeah, I love you guys so much, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye.